Hello everybody, welcome back to my Fortnite Creative Zombies tutorial. In today's episode I'm going to be setting up the barrier system where players purchase the barrier in order to get to the next room. After I've set up the barrier, I'm going to implement it into my zombie spawn system. In the last episode, I created the player spawn system and a weapon off the wall system. I did accidentally forget how to create this, which is an item placer that displays the weapon above the conditional button. To do that, all you do is place an item placer and change these settings. You turn off allow it interact. You make sure that it can't be damaged from the game start, and you can optionally choose the visual style. I just kept mine at model. After that, you just want to take the weapon that you put into the wall and drop it. This is going to create an item that you can place around. I did that for the shotgun shells, the infantry rifle and the infantry rifle ammo. Sorry I missed that last episode, I'm still new to this and it was an editing problem I had. So let's get into the tutorial and I'll try not to make any mistakes like that again. Sorry. So now we're ready to build the barrier device. What you're going to need is a few props to actually block the doorway, a conditional button, a prop manipulator and a barrier device. To start, block off the entryway with the props you have chosen. After that's done, we're going to place the conditional button. Go into the conditional button's options and change these settings. Once that's done, we're going to get the consumable that our zombies drop and drop it into the conditional button. After that, take the prop manipulator, go into its options and change these settings. We want to hide the prop when it receives a signal from the conditional button. Once that's complete, move the prop manipulator so that each prop enters the cube around the device. Now we want to take the barrier device, place it on the ground, go into the options and change these settings. We want to disable the device when it receives a signal from the conditional button. We now want to block up the doorway with the barrier device. This will stop players from being able to jump over any gaps that we leave in the build, so they are forced to buy the barrier device. Now we've got that set up, we'll go into the game and test. Now I know it works. I've renamed all the devices and numbered it so it's easier to find and more organised in the event browser. Now it's time to implement the barrier system into the zombie spawn system. Currently, the zombie spawn system works when this timer reaches 0, it enables the zombie spawner. I want to create one more step so I can dynamically change when the spawner enables and disables independently from the timer. So I'll place a trigger, I'll go into the trigger settings, I'll tell the trigger to trigger when receiving a signal from the start timer, and then on triggered it will enable the spawner. I then want to go into the spawner settings and simply remove the round start timer. Now, with this change, we can implement the barrier mechanic. What we're going to do is copy both the spawner and the trigger to the left. We're going to go into the spawner here, rename it to Room 2 Fiend Spawner. Then go into the trigger and make sure that the enabled on game start is set to off. Then we want to enable it when it receives a signal from the conditional button that's linked to our barrier mechanic. Now I've currently got no way of actually spawning in the zombies, like enabling the zombies. How I'm going to implement it in the upcoming episode is using a mutator zone. When the player enters it, it'll enable the zombie spawner, and when they leave it, it'll disable the zombie spawner. This is to make the zombie spawners more dynamic, as you can only have a certain amount of zombies around the player at any given time. So by doing this change, we can make sure that the maximum amount of zombies are spawning in around the player. So to test our new mechanic, what I'm going to do is trigger it when a zombie spawns in from the first spawner. So now I'll start the game and I'll test it. And as you can see, that all worked as intended. In the next episode, I'm going to further improve on this system by including the mutator zones that turn the spawners on and off when the player enters them and exits them. I'm also going to make another 5 rounds, including dogs, and make it so the zombies are harder to kill and hit the player even harder as the rounds progress. On top of that, I'm going to start implementing all the mechanics that we've currently made into my map. If you've enjoyed today's episode, please leave a like and maybe a comment, and please consider subscribing so you don't miss out on the upcoming episodes. Thank you so much for watching, have a nice day, and I'll see you next time.